Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday. And on Tuesday, we talk about structuring your coaching practice. Now, over the course of the last couple of weeks, we've been exploring the question that really puts you in the driver's seat around controlling your practice, structuring your practice. It's up to you. And I really just want to be clear that there's no magic formula about how you should structure your coaching practice, what kinds of offerings should you have, how many sessions should you offer. You can structure your practice however you choose. I want to say that again because it's so important, because I think sometimes when we build a business, especially a practice, this is my friend the cat, he's back. You should structure your coaching practice without cats on the desk because they tend to mess up the equipment. So, all right. So you need to you're not a victim of your business, and you're not a victim of the money that your business can generate. And I want to really make sure, as you contemplate perhaps how to shift and change the nature of your business and make it so that it is more sustainable for you, so that you have more to give and more to share, that you really tune into what is your mindset about money? What is your mindset about your the relationship between how much you work and money? I think that the conditioning that many of us have around, if you want to make money, you got to work. And if you want to make more money, you got to work hard. And if you want to make even more money, you got to work even harder. That conditioning between work, hard work, hustle, and money is very insidious. And it's really, really challenging to disentangle ourselves from that dynamic, that conditioning field of, I have to work to make money. I have to work hard if I want to make more money. I have to work even harder if I want to make even more money. The way I'm going to encourage you to structure your coaching practice is really about learning how to work smart and knowing how to work with the numbers, because a lot of structuring your practice is not only about mindset and alignment and all those pieces that are essential, but it's also a numbers game, and you got to understand how the numbers work. And you got to be willing to look at the numbers and do the math sometimes if you want to grow your practice and create your practice, structure your practice in such a way that it is sustainable. So last week, I had you think about what do you need to learn? What do you need to earn? What would you like to earn? And then I invited you to stretch a little bit. Like, what would be a stretch if you could earn the stretch amount? How much would that be? So if you didn't get a chance to do that, I really want to encourage you today to think about, in the context of your coaching practice, what do you need to earn? What do you need to earn? What do you want to earn? And what would be like a stretchy ideal? Keep those numbers somewhere handy. Put them on your wall, or put them somewhere on your desk. Put them where you can see them, because they're going to help you measure, if you will, how close and aligned you are, and they're going to help you make a different set of decisions around how you structure your coaching practice. Today's lesson is going to make you laugh a little bit. Maybe it'll make you uncomfortable a little bit. So I want to just sort of preface it with, this is probably, I believe personally, and I'm saying this as with more than 20, almost 30, gosh, if I do the math, 30 years of having a coaching practice. I have been coaching for what we say in Texas for a long ass time. Okay. So I'm going to share this with you because I think that in a way, this is actually the most important and also sometimes the most challenging conversation we can have as coaches. Hold on a second. The cat has to leave again. He wants to be a part of this conversation and I don't want him to, but he's going to win. He always wins. The cat always wins. That's just the bottom line. All right. Here you go. This is so essential. And this is important, especially with the understanding that we have around human design type. There are a couple of things that are going to cause us potentially to burn out, to cause us to lose our sustainability and our excitement and our vitality around our practice. The very first one, which I'll talk about more in the next couple of weeks, because it's such a biggie. The very first one is not having a strong enough sense of value around yourself, your practice, your work, and what you do. So there is a really direct one-to-one correlation between the money your practice brings in and your self-worth and the sense of value that you have around your work. Table that, contemplate that, let it percolate around a little bit inside of your mind and your heart. We're going to revisit this conversation, I promise. When we don't value ourselves, one of the things that happens, which I think is actually the second biggest reason why we tend to burn out in our practice, when we don't value ourselves, we don't value taking care of ourselves. We don't value our time. We don't value our work. We don't value our need for renewal, nourishment, self-reflection, education, contemplation, sleep, exercise, easy and beautiful walks outside with your dogs, time to hang out with your children or your grandchildren or your best friend or your parents or whoever. When we don't value ourselves and we are still buying into that hustle model of creativity with our coaching practice, we don't build into the practice the downtime, the renewal time, the self-reflection time, the creative time. And if you don't put that in on the front end in your coaching practice, and you try to squeeze that in later, when you get all your stuff done, especially for those of you who have an open root center, if you're like, you've got this constantly growing, expanding to-do list, and you're not putting into the to-do list first, the time off, the time for rest, the time for renewal, then you run the risk of running yourself into the ground. And if you run yourself into the ground, a couple things are going to happen. A, you're not going to have the energy for the hustle, especially if you're buying into the hustle model. And B, you're actually going to stop creating clients. And it's not because you're failing or because you suck or your marketing model doesn't work. The reality is, most of the time when we stop creating clients, stop attracting clients, or we fail to attract them in the first place because we're building a business on the side and it takes a lot of energy to work your day job and also have your side hustle. If we get burned out, our clients don't show up. And they don't show up because the universe loves you. The universe loves you so much that it's looking at you and your energy and your vitality and it's saying, honey, oh my goodness, you're so tired. You need a rest. We're not going to send you any more clients for a while. You go take a break. That's not an exciting way to take a break because that's usually a way of taking a break that also sometimes gets us into panic mode, right? And then we're using adrenaline energy and we're not resting and we're not regenerating. We're getting more and more and more burned out. So today I want to talk about, before you structure anything in your coaching practice, the most important thing you must do, and I want to tell you, do this every year in January. At the beginning of the year, I want you to do this. I want you to do this before you do anything else, before you calculate anything else about how you want to structure your practice. I want you to book your days off first over the course of your calendar year in your structure. I want you to think about, in your ideal world, and you can make, by the way, your ideal income and have your ideal calendar at the same time. It's completely and totally possible. I want you to think about, how do you want to structure your life so that you're getting the quality of life and the quality of renewal you need to stay sustainable in your coaching practice. Many of you have parameters around that. I don't know how it is for you guys. I know that for me, I still have an 11, almost 12-year-old at home. I have this magical 11, almost 12-year-old who lives in my house, and I have 8 children. 7 of them are adults. I am wise enough to know that the couple of years we have left with my daughter at home are short, and they're going to go by super short. And we're probably going to go through a phase not too long from now where she's not going to want to hang around with me anyway. This beautiful creature that lives in my house does not like to go to camp. She's a projector. She has one open center, the sacral. And she lives for summertime, not because she doesn't love school, because she does, but because she also knows she needs cycles of rest and renewal. And the summertime is her rest time. And she's very aware of this. So for me, in my coaching practice, in my business, I know that June through the beginning of September, I need to scale back my practice. I need to scale back my availability. I need to scale back everything because I want to be with her. I want to have the freedom to take horseback riding lessons, which is what we're doing this summer. I want to have the freedom to go to our cabin and swim and play and read books on the dock and enjoy the sun. I want to have the freedom to see my parents, her grandparents, because that's a really, really important relationship to us. I want to have the freedom to be able to really be with my family over the summer. And so when I build out my coaching practice for the year, one of the things that I do is I put in the fact that we're slowing down June through September. I need to have in place a model of coaching that allows me to ratchet it back over the summer without skipping a beat in the income, or planning the income in such a way, or strategizing for the income in such a way that the income is still there or it's sitting in the bank so that I'm not freaking out over the course of the summer around money. I have a huge team. I have a big payroll every month that I have to maintain in order to be able to pay my people. And of course, I like to also be paid. So that means I've got to budget on the front end with time and energy and money to be able to meet payroll over the summer. So when I structure my business and I'm looking at what do I want to do this year, I've already put in the time off. I also know that for me, I have to have a minimum of 1 day off a week. I actually think it's healthier to have 2 days off a week. The reality of my life is that I love my work so much. 2 weeks off a week, 2 days off a week is like, it's hard. Okay. I can't not, it's very difficult for me to not get inspired, for if I take a day off, but I need that day off. And I'm pretty religious about it. In fact, we're so religious about it that everybody on the team goes home and we have an autoresponder that says, we're not here today. We're off today. And we ask you if you haven't need anything from us, be patient because we're not going to get to it till tomorrow. That's setting a good time boundary. That's also structuring our practice. The practice is closed on Saturdays. We're closed. And all those Saturdays are booked out ahead of time. My team gets 2 weeks off at the end of the year, plus 2 weeks additional vacation time, plus additional time off as necessary for medical care or whatever. I encourage them to put their time off in the books in the beginning of January, so that we're working around it and we can really fully support each other in those cycles of rest and renewal, those cycles of restoration. Put your time off and your ideal schedule into your calendar first, then we work the money around it. So if your cycle is work 2 weeks, off 2 weeks, or your cycle is work 2 weekends, be off the rest of the time, you absolutely can totally do that. There is nothing that says you can't, and I can show you how, and we'll talk about that next week. Next week, we're going to bring a calculator on Tuesdays when we talk about structuring your coaching practice, because we're going to do math next week. But you can't set it up correctly if you don't have your self-renewal and your schedule and your rhythm included on the front end. You need to know, what do you need to stay recharged, renourished, regenerated, resourced, if you will. If you don't have a sense of what that is what I want you to work on this week. Think about, what's your ideal schedule? And I want you to structure it. I don't want you to structure it in 3 tiers like I had you do with money last week. I want you just to structure it in 2 tiers. I want you to structure it in terms of, what do I need? What time off do I need? And we need time off. Everyone needs time off. And then I want you to structure it in the context of, what would I love? How much time off would I love? And be honest with yourself. If you're looking at your schedule and you're like, I need a lot of time off, it's okay. We can structure your practice to meet that, but we can't do it if we don't know how much you want on the front end. And I want to encourage you to put that in now before we start looking at income goals and how we structure the practice to meet those income goals. Because if you don't have that on the books first, the tendency is, because of our conditioning, we're going to put it off. Oh, I'll take care of myself. I'll take time off when I can afford to. You will burn out if you do it that way. You've got to structure your business so that you're off first. You know your schedule, you know your rhythm, you know your routine, and you've built into the practice your time for self-renewal, your time for connecting with your creative muse, your time for learning, your time for rest. It's essential and it's crucial. People are looking to you, not only for inspiration that you deliver, they're also looking to you as an aspirational force. They want to look at your life and know that they can be like you. And if you're telling them, oh, you need to rest, you need to take care of yourself, and you're not, you can't coach. You can't close that gap in what you're coaching people to do and you not live it yourself. You have to be walking your talk. So be mindful and listen carefully to what you're saying to your clients and really check in. Am I walking my talk? Because you got to be walking your talk if you're going to be authentically aligned and if you're going to ultimately sell. Because if you're not walking your talk and you're trying to sell, you won't sell. All right, that's it for this week. What time off do you need? That's your first question. Second question, what time off is ideal for you? That's your second question. Play with those thoughts. Next week on Tuesday, bring your calculator because we're gonna do some hardcore math, and make sure you bring your numbers from last week. Your need, the income that you need, the income that you want, and then your like stretchy ideal income. All right, have a great day. Bye.